As you know, from time to time, I like to share what I call cultural tidbits, which support the development of these not-so-humble video columns. So today I'm bringing you the origin of an expression that we frequently use in Mexico, but that few people know the meaning of. And that also serves perfectly to frame what we're seeing in the political life of this battered country. Do you know where the expression "me llegó el agua a los aparejos" comes from? Well, here it goes. We all know it means to be in a critical, extreme, or very difficult situation to solve. It's used when a problem has reached such a serious or advanced point that it requires immediate attention, similar to the more common version of the expression, when the fire reaches the harness. But what is the origin? In a rural and maritime context, the term aparillo refers to the set of harnesses and saddles placed on pack mules and horses. It also refers to the ropes and sails of a ship. The metaphor is used when a load of water or fire reaches up to where the harnesses of the animal or the rigging of the boat are. It means that the weight or danger has exceeded the containment limit, putting stability and survival at risk. An example would be, I'm at the breaking point. I have to go see my boss in Tabasco. You understand me. Let's get to it. What happened this weekend in Tabasco is not to be missed. It's one of those things that, if it weren't so pathetic for the country, you'd laugh about it. Sheinbaum went on a trip to Tabasco's Garden of Eden, but don't expect any inaugurations, big announcements, or that display of grandiose projects they love to show off. No, what we saw was a tour pulled out of thin air, an escape disguised as work, and a clear message for those who still believe that anyone in this country has more power than the old man in his golden retirement. Let's start with the host, Javier May, the first one to be surprised. He was told the president would visit his state. But he worried that the governor of Tabasco, who made big promises, has nothing to show. His main programs are stalled. Why is the president visiting a state where the local government has nothing to inaugurate? She was going to announce the Madre de Cárdenas, the one they swore up and down would be ready in March, and that today is still a monument to insufficiency. The hospital? Dangerous? Or maybe she had in her suitcase the budget for the 10 electrical substations that Tamulte de las Sabanas has been clamoring for. No, gentlemen, none of that. But don't be fooled, they're not stupid. Well, actually they are, but they know how to lie very well. They know that the optics of a trip without a reason are terrible. So why go? Why the rush? Why that urgent need to be in Tabasco, far from the National Palace, but close to the boss? This is where irony turns into concern. The conclusion for anyone who wants to see beyond the smokescreen is crystal clear. Claudia Sheinbaum didn't go to Tabasco to govern, she went to receive instructions. And what's the burning issue? What is it that makes the lady have to rush out of the capital to get advice from her predecessor? Well, the ultimatum, which according to reports has come directly from Washington with the visit of Mark Wayne Mullen, Secretary of Security in Trump's administration. The pressure from the United States over the accusations against those Morena figures suspiciously linked to the narco-political world is no longer just a behind-the-scenes rumor. It's a reality that's knocking on the door, about to break it down. And when Uncle Sam frowns and starts asking for names, files, and explanations, the sovereignty they brag about so much suddenly becomes a very flexible concept. The meeting wasn't a work trip. It was a crisis session. Sheinbaum knows that the accusations of narco-politicians within her movement aren't just a little public relations problem. They're an existential threat to her 6-year term. And instead of facing the problem head-on, what does she do? She takes refuge in the arms of the one who built this system of complicities and pacts. It's ironic, isn't it? She is the sovereignist leader, the doctor of science, the woman who supposedly has control. But there we see her crossing the country to consult the Oracle of Palenque on how to weather the storm coming from the north. What Chachi forgot in her eagerness to sell her story is that demagoguery has an expiration date when it collides with reality. It's the classic rookie mistake, trying to talk about well-being when the country is falling apart in your hands. The real reason for her nervousness, her anger, and those wide eyes every time a question makes her uncomfortable isn't a bruised ego from media criticism. It's the deep fear that the criminal pact with Ruben Rocha Moya will end up blowing up in her face. It turns out that her fierce defense of the man from Sinaloa isn't out of conflict. It's strictly for survival. The money that financed her campaign and that of Jolota Brugada Rix of the Suer, with triangulations and cash facilitated by people like Enrique Diaz Vega, who has now become the nightmare of the fourth transformation after turning himself into the US authorities. He's not just any pawn, he's the man who knows how the money was distributed, how contracts were made, and most interestingly for the US Department of Justice, how the cash was moved. They avoid their boss, old man, patas meadas, because they know Diaz Vega is working with American authorities. When someone like him speaks up, it's not just the Sinaloa government that trembles, the entire national palace shakes, and as a result, even La Chingada in Palenque trembles. In short, we're witnessing the slow but entertaining collapse of a narrative built on foundations of mud and money from illicit origins. While Claudia keeps mixing up names and making erratic threats, the reality is that international justice, which can't be bought with morning press conferences, is hot on her heels. In the end, it's not a matter of sovereignty, but about seeing who will fall first when all the connections with Sinaloa finish telling everything they know. Making it clear that this fourth transformation is essentially the same old thing, just covered in the same dirty money as always. The tour through Tabasco was, in short, a sad snapshot of reality. A local government that doesn't exist, infrastructure that's nothing but empty promises, and a presidency that, when faced with international pressure, only knows how to turn to the old moral leader's playbook to see if there's still a trick up his sleeve to save his own skin. Tabasco was the stage for panic, not for governance. And while they keep playing their game of smoke and mirrors politics, the country keeps waiting for real solutions to problems that clearly won't be solved with imagination or by hiding behind improvised tours. What do you think? Remember, you can make your donations via PayPal. You can find the information in the comments section. Thanks to you, this channel stays active. It's very important there's a new comment section. Thank you.
Remember, you can make your donations via PayPal. You can find the information in the comments section. Thanks to you, this channel stays active. It's very important to subscribe, like, and hit the bell to get notifications every time there's new content. Thank you.